pleased to meet Dan McDermott today. Dan, welcome to F.A.C.E.
Thanks for having me, Dale. Glad to be here.
All right, so Dan the chart man. Do you want to share your screen, Dan, or use the
Yep, let's
camera?
do
Or
that. Here
share
we
your
go.
screen? Okay. All right, Dan. So the chart man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey into the business, what you were doing, who influenced you for your technical trading? Did you have a mentor? Kind of get in a time machine and tell us how it began for you.
Sure. So I've been trading about 12 years at this point. Back in the early days, I was exploring around on forums and Investors Hub and things like that, and just observing people trying to understand markets. I was back in college still at that point. And I, recognized this one guy who was posting charts. He's more right than everybody else. So, I kind of latched on to him. I want to know what he's doing, what, he's seeing on these charts. And so for the next year plus, I just, interacted with this individual, asked them questions. His name was actually Osprey on Investors Hub. And really, he just opened me up to the world. It was a lot of self-directed education as well. But
who was he? Who was he?
Osprey was his name on Investors Hub. He mostly focuses on penny stocks. I started in penny stocks the first couple of years before moving up to the real world of trading after realizing what goes on in the wild west of penny stocks and wanting to avoid that. But yeah, it was a lot of observing, and then, he uses RSI a lot. So I'm going to study RSI and research it, and a lot of trial and error, of course, learning all the lessons along the way, but started to find consistency year 4 or 5. And I'd say, because I started in penny stocks, I'm more of a, momentum kind of trader. So I love, I wasn't interested in cryptocurrency, but I see they're all at all-time highs in 2017. So I jump into that market, and the Canadian cannabis market in 2018. So I love jumping on euphoria and learn my lessons early to take profit along the way, to not be holding the bags, but loving markets still to this day, and mostly a day trader.
Okay, so would you say there's euphoria in the gold market now?
It's building for sure. I think we got to get the new all-time highs to see some real euphoria there. And I think, that's with where we stand right now, that's inevitable in the next.
So all right, well, let's stay here with the S&P. So you use candlesticks, you use RSI. What do you use, since that's kind of my bailiwick? How do you use RSI?
So I love RSI in strong trending markets. So if you're in a strong uptrend, you're going to find short-term oversold conditions lead to longer-term higher lows. So for example, if you got a strong daily uptrend, oftentimes you'll see hourly oversold conditions mark the daily higher lows. So I use them, for bounce trades. I love bounce trades as well. If you're with the longer term trend, and I use RSI to help pinpoint. It's definitely, price action and trends are my bread and butter, but the RSI is just one little piece of the puzzle.
Okay. All right. So we're looking at S&Ps right here. Under 40.75, you turn negative. Could I assume that, based upon the line that you have drawn there, that it could be a false breakout?
Yeah, I'm just watching that low of yesterday. Actually, I'm trying to get better at swing trading and improve that skill set, just because I recognize, to be a day trader and to be in the zone, it's a whole bunch of hours. And now that I'm on year 12, it's like, how sustainable is that going to be over the next couple decades? So in my IRA, I'm doing a bunch of swing trading, and I go flat when I'm unsure, and then I have my bull lean and bear lean where I have my long-term no-touch positions like SPY and things like that. But just yesterday, I went from a bull lean post FOMC after the bears proved nothing to me after the FOMC. And now I started grabbing some hedges yesterday, looking for inevitable daily consolidation that's going to be due here. And the big question for me is, does the NASDAQ join today? Because the S&P 500 started its consolidation yesterday, but the NASDAQ is still grinding these higher lows every day. I've marked this support zone, and you can see we just held it on what it was yesterday. That was Monday, and then held it on Tuesday. And so now it's in play again this morning. So the big question for me today is, does the NASDAQ join the S&P 500 in this daily consolidation?
Okay. And you have any pullback labeled right now as consolidation. What would make you concerned about the trend in the S&P, which most people are saying there really isn't one, that it's a range trade, that people have collars on or strangles on, selling 3,600 puts and selling 4,200 calls. So they're treating this market as a range. I can't find a trend.
Yeah,
Where's the trend?
Honestly, this year, one of my superpowers as a trader is not getting attached to a bias. So I've really done a good job this year of saying I have no idea. You know, we could go to all-time highs or we could hit new fear lows. I'm open to both possibilities, and I take it a day at a
Right.
time. But
Right.
on the S&P 500 here, we got these little higher lows. This is what I'm watching just on the way up, and we got a lot of space where we can form another one. So if we were to retrace, 3-4 days and create the space where, maybe it is just another higher low, but then we bounce and confirm a downtrend. Pretty much if we retrace, for a few days and give back over 50% of this leg up that we just saw here, that's going to create the space for, next bounce. Maybe we fail that recent high and then roll over into that daily downtrend.
Okay. Did the OPEC over the weekend report surprise you? Surprised me.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm mostly a technical trader, but seeing that take place definitely was a shakeup in oil and energy because, the energy sector had been so weak prior to that. It was one of our, lead bear sectors in the last couple of months, but a big time turnaround and shakeup. And yeah, it's, the way I've been viewing the market is really most recently as post, banking situation, everything that was going on, because we saw a whole bunch of capital move in reaction to that, where we had, the tech sector and semiconductors and metals and even Bitcoin all responding bullish. And then we had obviously the financial sector weak, but IWM and, the energy sector was weak. Healthcare was still weak at that point. And so for me, it's just, do our strong names weaken to join the weaker names, or do our weak names strengthen to join the stronger names? And so one key thing for me over the next week or so is watching, the financial sector XLF here. Can we hold the recent low and confirm the first daily uptrend that we've seen in over a month? That would be very notable to me if bulls were able to pull that off. But I'm not holding my breath, because the regional banks, KRE, they're testing those fear lows, and they can very easily see new fear lows, which would dampen any hopes of a reversal in the short term in the financial sector, in my opinion.
What do you make out of stocks like Caterpillar, which is a big company, global? Yeah, that action where you just get a little ABC after the first break. It gave back all its gains in basically a day.
Yeah. So what I just did there is I go to the monthly, then I go to the weekly, and just quickly zoom out and then zoom in to see exactly what's going on. But the weekly, what stands out to me is the clear downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. And we did, set a daily higher low and higher high here. But as you mentioned, zero follow through, which has us looking for it to be a weekly bear flag. Anytime you change a trend with no follow through, keep an eye out for that flag. And so that's definitely on the table here. And yeah, just, as you mentioned, the slow grind up, and then to give back 4 or 5 days of action in one day on some high volume. Definitely a vote of confidence for the Bears.
Yeah. So do you think stocks like this are some kind of, and what copper did yesterday could be a warning sign about risk?
Yeah, I definitely do. But for me, it's, there's so much weight in these major tech names, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft.
So concentrated.
Yeah. And so that's really what I need to see roll over for there to be fear. If we want to talk, it's really rotation or fear. And we've been seeing some decent rotation recently, just with the healthcare sector finally coming off the lows. And so if we're going to see fear, what I want to see is all of our major sectors dropping at the same time, all at the low of the day at the same time. And that's healthcare, tech sector, financial sector. And we haven't seen that in a while here. And for me, it's when the leaders, when Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon start weakening, that's going to be when fear returns. And so until then, I'm holding off. I'm holding off from being too bearish as long as Apple's in this strong daily uptrend.
Well, Tim Cook must not use your candlestick system, because he has sold millions upon millions of Apple stock in the last few weeks.
Well, that's definitely worth paying attention to.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's publicized. I saw it, a trader buddy of mine posted it. So he must not trade with candlesticks or RSI.
Yeah. Or he's selling in, or he's selling into strength, which I'll never knock. If you're gonna take profit into strength, that's A-okay with me.
I wonder what he knows.
And really,
Maybe
it's the kind of thing.
Maybe he's worried about this visit from the Taiwanese president to meet with Speaker McCarthy.
Yeah,
in
who
LA.
knows?
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing where I look back, where we got the announcement of all the Fed officials, like, oh, there's a conflict of
trading,
interest,
yeah.
so we're gonna sell all our portfolio up here, and then you look
Yeah.
back in hindsight, well, duh, like should have shorted everything up there.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you do at your company and what differentiates you from services, educational services. Tell us a little bit about your business model.
Sure. So we at the Chart Guys, we run a chat room community and we do the live streams. And one thing that made us different, really why I started the company, is I was in a chat room prior, and the individual who ran it was not really responsive to questions. Anytime there was a question, he'd direct you, to a paid course or something like that. But I love talking about markets. I love, trying to interact with people as much as possible. So really just a hands-on approach where just a lot of availability of answering questions as trades are playing out and as the day is going on, and also sharing all of our similarities outside the markets as well, to have that strong community aspect. And I've just learned so much from people, and people are learning so much from me. The fundamental aspect of things, and in investing in T-bills. I had never done that before this past year, and so. Just really sharing knowledge all around and having a good time.
How do you do it, Dan? Do you go right to the set up an account at the Fed? How do you buy your treasuries?
I've been going through Fidelity. I've been on the 4-week T-bills for a while, but starting to wind down on those and maybe look a little bit longer term. But I've also got commitment issues, so tying that money up for months and months is definitely difficult for me to do as a day trader.
Okay, so it's like a fund. It's a like 90-day paper. So it's you are in T-bills. They're just not in your name. You're just buying a fund at Fidelity.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. I know a lot of people, they want to have the bills in their name. So
yeah, I definitely
do you worry
that.
about things like what happened at Silicon Valley Bank affecting your broker or your bank? Or do you think that was a one-off and we've got it solved?
I'm definitely, I'm always cautious of worst case scenario. So I do want to spread things out. And honestly, one thing I mentioned that I've dabbled in the crypto market over the last 4 years, but one thing that's kept me safe in the crypto market is my requirement of FDIC insurance. So that's kept me off of, the shady exchanges that have gone under. And a lot of people didn't, have that same mindset. And I think this is now waking people up, where a whole bunch more people are now talking about FDIC insurance that weren't before. So yeah, I spread things out, and honestly, I always.
What crypto exchange do you use that is you get? It's not SPIC, but it's FDIC, like a savings account or checking account.
Yeah. I use Coinbase. Honestly, I don't love them as a pro trader. What their lack of progress over the last 5 years has been disheartening. In terms of, their features and things like that. It's, clearly they are not trying to make the best trading platform out there.
Short that puppy into the gap. See the gap on coin? Let's talk coin for a minute. Yeah. You got any rally into that gap? But what was the gap down? Was it earnings?
No, they got a letter from the SEC saying,
those aren't fun.
Yeah, like, hey, you've been listed secured. I forget what it was, but essentially there's going to be a reckoning, whether that's a fine or whether they have to delist coins from their platform. Who knows? But yeah, the amount of fees that I've paid them over the last 5 years versus what they're giving me as a full-time trader, it's not an even trade.
Yeah, that's a broken stock. Anyway, thought I'd just, another sector. Do you have a view on Bitcoin? Up here, I mean, it's been moving sideways. It feels like for, I don't know, 2 months up near.
Yeah, it's got this. Well, really, this was the catalyst of the banking situation,
right.
And then we're grinding. I use the EMA 12, which is this red line, and so for me, I just love simple statements where I'm just going to say, as long as we're holding that level, I'm on Team Bull, and it's very similar to gold in the recent narrative from the banking situation. And you can see gold did the same thing, where gold was grinding that daily EMA 12 as it consolidated sideways. And obviously gold got its most recent leg up. So Bitcoin's trying to do its
You see
best
what
gold
gold had
impression.
though? I mean, you use RSI. Do you ever use it in this manner? You see the high in gold at 2009 in the RSI reading. Do you believe in using RSI for divergences? I like to have more than one. And for tops under 80, I don't know if this reading's under 80, but do you use RSI for seeing that there are non-confirmations and that there could be a turn coming?
To be honest, I don't. I use RSI a lot, and divergence is not one of the major aspects. It's the kind of thing where I'll make note of it. It just in terms of a priority of how much weight I put in my decision, it
Yeah,
is
it could
still,
bum stereo sometimes, divergences.
yeah,
Markets could diverge quite a long time until you're broke. So
yeah.
yeah, you still need risk management. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what people would have to do to get involved with you? If you want to show your website, this would be a good time.
Sure. So yeah, we're at chartguys.com, but really, what we pride ourselves in is the amount of free content that we put out there as well. So, on our website, we've got some courses and we got the chat room and all that. But if you find us on Twitter at Chart Guys or on YouTube at the Chart Guys, at this point we put out something like 7,000 videos over the last 8 years. So
Wow.
we love the mix of free content and paid content. And it's essentially, the people that want to dive in deeper, sign up to join the community. And those that don't have the time or don't have the commitment, there's still plenty of useful information. And we love to share it with all of you.
Okay, well, Dan, anything you want to wrap it with, like the most important thing you've learned over the last several years of trading that could help people
Hey, mate.
avoid? Yes. Hello.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard Steve. Okay. So anything that you want to pass on to people that could help them avoid a landmine?
Yeah. So, I mean, I need a stop loss on every single trade. I need a
Okay.
level that invalidates my thesis. I need to not be attached to my bias and recognize by, being humble and battling our egos by saying, I'm going to be wrong a whole bunch when I play this game. And I need to recognize when I'm wrong and, cut that loss before it turns into a big one.
Okay. And how about on missing trades?
So yeah, once you're in the market long enough, you realize there is always another trade. When you're in your first year, it's like, oh man, I missed it, and that's my chance. The amount of once in a lifetime opportunities I've seen in markets over the last 6 years, it's just there's a lot of them. So just the goal is to stay in the game long term, and you got to preserve your capital to do that. And the opportunities will keep coming. I promise you that.
And I'm sure people have asked you this. They've said to me, Dale, how much capital do I need to trade for a living? And they'll say, can I do it with 10K? And I'll say, yes, if you want to live beneath an underpass. What do you tell what do you tell people when
That's an extremely difficult question just because everybody's, financial situation is so different. I started, in college as a minimalist where I was, I slept in a shed for a while where I started with $3,000 and, lucked out big time into some bull markets that helped the learning curve. But it really depends on your lifestyle and how you live. If you've got a mortgage and a family, it's going to be a very different answer than if you're 22, fresh out of college with no debt, hopefully. But if you got debt, that's another thing. It's I am very fortunate that my dad helped me through college, because if I had debt, I wouldn't have taken the risk to try this and to do this longer term. So it's a very individualized question. But if you've got financial responsibilities or family responsibilities, you definitely want to have a secondary source of income, because that relieves a ton of stress. We know trading is very stressful. And if you have that secondary income, it makes trading a whole bunch easier, in my opinion.
Completely agree. It's not life or death every trade if you have that to fall back on. So Dan, it was great meeting you. And is Lori your most popular person on the team?
Oh, she's great.
All the guys want to hang out there with Lori.
Yeah, she came in as a student and I was her mentor, and now she's, very quickly teaching me things. So she's wonderful.
Isn't it great to learn from your students?
Yes, it's the best. It's a
It's great. I
win-win.
really, it's reward, and to see them take off, it's really as good as a, you know, winning trade for yourself.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, from one coach to another, Dan, great meeting you, and hope you have a great spring trading season. Tell Lori that we missed her, and uh, we'll schedule for her to come back with us this summer. How's that
Sounds
sound?
good. Appreciate you a lot, Dale. Thanks for having me.
All right. You're now my trading warrior, brother. Like it or not, buddy.
All right, I'm in.
All right. Dan's in. Check Dan out. Where's the best place, Dan? Your Twitter handle is what?
At Chart Guys, chartguys.com and Chart Guys
Okay.
on Twitter.
Okay. So they do what they say they are. Thanks for sharing your charts with us today, Dan.
Thanks again.
Adios. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings, everybody. Have a great day. You could join the team in, let's see, looks like about.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.